Joining me now is Mr. Sachin Pilot. Sachin, I can see you wearing black, so clearly the Congress party is in a mood to protest. But the BJP says there is nothing much to protest about. His disqualification happened only on the basis of an existing law.
I think it's very clear that behind the garb of a legislation or a judgment, the kind of politics that is unraveling itself. It's never happened in that particular case. The provisions of the case, nobody has ever been convicted for a 2-year sentence on that particular case. And also we must look at the act, and the court has already said, is it a heinous crime? There are many people in this country who are MPs and MLAs, perhaps even ministers, who have been charged with or are suspected with murders and rapes and dacoitry, etc. उन पे तो ऐसा हो नहीं रहा है. But I think more importantly, besides just the individual and the case per se, what's happening now is that there is a very focused effort to make sure that the government of the day will have its way no matter what happens. So whether it's assemblies, whether it's parliament, people are not allowed to speak. They raise up issues that are uncomfortable. And it's very clear, for the last few years we've seen, especially after 2019, anybody who's in the opposition will face the full wrath of the government of India, whether it's agencies, CBI, ED. There was a report I saw that more than 90%, 95% of people who have been either summoned or questioned or raided by the ED all belong to the opposition parties. Now, it's not possible that 95% of people targeted by a certain agency belong to the opposition. So there is a clear effort to dissuade, defame, curtail and suppress anyone who opposes the policies or the ideology of the government of India.
No, that point I can take. But my point is that the grounds on which he's been disqualified is on the basis of an existing law, which, mind you, also was something which was brought by your government. When you were in power, Rahul Gandhi had famously torn up the ordinance.
But
how can you then accuse the BJP of saying
please understand, what is the intention behind bringing that law? We wanted to make sure that in public life, people with clear backgrounds and with some integrity are allowed to function and holding important positions. It wasn't about making defamation a criminal offence and then using some provision of that law to bar people from attending parliament. And look at the ferocious speed at this happened. Let alone the fact that the person who was aggrieved was a sitting BJP MLA. It wasn't some backward community organization which felt that we aggrieved, or the 2 people, 3 people who are fugitives. They are not the ones who filed this defamation case. It's a BJP MLA. So all this background, something I think the cognizance of this should have been taken by the court before they filed. Anyway, the matter is sub judice, so I don't want to talk more about the case per se. But more importantly, if someone raises their voice, the opposition, and you all know people in the opposition parties have had different views on different issues, but on this particular issue, whether it's the TMC or the Aam Aadmi Party, Uddhav Thakere's party, across the country, people feel that this is an excessive use. Now, you can hide behind the pretext that it's the law has taken its own course and we have nothing to do with it, but every thinking individual understands the motive, the execution, the speed and the timing of it is done. And people are apprehensive that this might happen. Now, to say other people have been disqualified also, that doesn't hold water. There are many people today who are members of parliament, who are ministers, who have used far worse language, who have actually used derogatory language, unparliamentary language. They still continue to hold office and not even a slap on the wrist. So here how the High Court stay vacation was withdrawn, the judges were changed, all this chronology is in public domain. I don't have to talk about it. I am more concerned about how we are being viewed as a country which is intolerant of anyone who opposes. The same BJP had leaders earlier who were perhaps in government, didn't have this sort of a reaction. And today, the institutions, the agencies, the structures of our democracy, which for 70 years we all have collectively nurtured, are really being questioned. And that's why there is an outcry, not just in our party, but across all opposition parties, that this is not the way to function. And this is being done just to send a message that if you oppose us, this is what you'll be faced with.
Okay, now I'm going to move a little bit away from the disqualification, but to focus on this issue. You saw that in the last Lok Sabha election, Chaukidar Chor Hai narrative just did not work. It didn't work for the Congress, it worked for the BJP. Now, when you start attacking the Prime Minister and call him corrupt and a nexus with the Adanis, you think politically speaking it's another mistake the Congress party is making?
Look, I think we all understand that the corporate world is under tremendous stress. There are a lot of crony capitalists who are running around and making a pot of money. all we're saying is that come out clean, answer the relevant questions either on the floor of the house or in public domain. But if you don't answer questions, the gap between rich and poor is so large now, and a few people have actually taken advantage of the resources of the people of India. Now that's questionable. Whether politically you're getting 5 votes, 50 or 100 votes is not important. The principle of the issue is that there should be open transparency.
No, but you're not an NGO, you're a political party. You
That
want
is
to
why,
win
that
elections.
is why we have to raise these issues. And I think people's issues are what we have been doing.
But it
And
hasn't worked
what
for
did,
you.
Okay, how do you know it's not working?
No,
for us?
because see, if you say that people's money has been taken away, makes sense to me. But if you keep on attacking the Prime Minister and say he's corrupt, that may not work for you.
Well, if you're helping people who are being charged with malpractices, who are doing negative corporate governance, who are using the resources of the government of India and public sector banks and agencies and other institutions, why must we not question it? And there is no answer coming from anybody. The finance minister, the government of India, कोई जवाब देने को तैयार ही नहीं है. And there are relevant questions. They are in public domain. RTI फाइल कर रखे हैं, लोकसभा में सवाल पूछ रखे हैं, कोई जवाब देने को तैयार नहीं. And we all know that the parliament was actually stalled for a long time to avoid a discussion on the issue that we were raising. Now all these people are watching. You said कि वो slogan कामयाब नहीं हुआ. ठीक है, we lose election, we win elections, but we cannot stop raising the voice. Being the voice of the people of this country. Middle classes, आज महंगाई का क्या हाल है, बेरोजगारी का क्या हाल है, गैस का सिलेंडर 1100 रुपए का मिल रहा है, कोई जवाब देने को तैयार नहीं है. So these are issues that I think is important for all opposition parties to raise, and we were leading from the front while doing this. And that is why across India on this particular issue you see a galvanized opposition coming together and supporting, because आज को राहुल गांधी जी के साथ हुआ है, कल किसी और के साथ कर देंगे.
But then good you said that, because after parliament is over, you think this opposition unity can remain intact? Because घर वापस जाएंगे, आप versus Congress in Punjab, other states, your own state, Rajasthan, which I'm going to come to, TMC versus Congress plus left. You think this opposition unity, that could be the biggest challenge to maintain it till 2024?
देखो, every regional party has an important role to play. One cannot deny that. But in every relationship, in every coalition, there has to be give and take. One has to look at what the larger objective is. Of course, everybody has fiefdoms, vote bank, and they want to protect that, and we have some interests that are in conflict with regional parties. But nationally speaking, to take on the BJP, we have less than 13 months left now. We have to, and I think this is really an issue that has brought everyone together. And it's important. I think the Congress party, like our President Mr. Kharge said, that we will take steps to make sure that people remain united. And on issues, it's not about personalities anymore. Please understand, it is not about individuals or personalities. It is about issues. For 9 years, we had a government. People gave full mandate. And look at the delivery. I think that's the test that the BJP has to pass. And for that, all people are, opposition parties and leaders are coming together. And I think it's a very positive sign. But we must not stop at this. We must go ahead and raise issues of relevance to the public on the ground, at the grassroots, across India, and that's how I think momentum will build up for the next vote.
Okay, suppose Rahul Gandhi's disqualification doesn't get stayed or revoked, a parliament minus Rahul Gandhi and a Rahul Gandhi minus parliament. Do you see the end of the political road for him?
First of all, there is no end of the road for any politician. It's because the case is sub judice. I don't want to comment on what the courts will or will not do. All I can say is that we remain true to the cause. The issue at hand is about how voices are being muzzled. Democracy, the way we see it, is being questioned. Not just here, across the world, people also.
But what about Rahul Gandhi? What will happen to his political future?
Well, he's already said he's there to fight. He's raising issues, and he'll do what he needs to do as a political person. Post, position, parliament, cabinet, government, opposition, ये सब चलता रहता है. It's part of our public life. But as a leading opposition person, we all have realized that this is the time not to sit back and continue the fight. We within the India Congress Party is been a Gandhian party. So उस दायरे में रहकर we have to make sure that people feel that we are doing things for them, and that's the real essence of being in public life, I think.
No, but don't you think that when the Congress party is agitating and you're having a satyagraha, you're making it about the family? You're not making it so much about the issue. It's becoming more about Rahul Gandhi के साथ ऐसा क्यों हुआ?
Because what has happened is very unfortunate, right? I think even people in the ruling party feel that it's being done excessive कर रहे हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं. It is not done. It's never happened before. And if you allow this new normal to become acceptable, then it keeps getting further and further down. ऐसा पहले कब किसके साथ हुआ है? I mean, you can say कोर्ट का जजमेंट था, but I'm saying कोर्ट का जजमेंट आया, within 12 hours लोकसभा secretariat issues an order of disqualification without the court gave 30 days for appeal. तो पार्लियामेंट could have waited for a few days.
ऑटोमेटिक डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन
होता है, but I'm saying ये कि कानून में लिखा नहीं है ना. It's just what I'm saying is it's not written in letter. It has to be done. It's a option that the parliament could have exercised, but it shows that they were waiting for the order to come and wo go ahead and disqualify. I keep saying that if it can happen to X, it can happen to Y. Rahul Gandhi के साथ हुआ है, कल किसी और के साथ हो सकता है. That's why the entire opposition has come forward to unitedly say that this is unacceptable, and it is unacceptable.
Okay, moving on from Rahul Gandhi, आपका क्या होगा? Your elections are also very close by. 8 महीने बाकी हैं राजस्थान.
We have these 3 important states: Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. And I keep saying it's important for us to win these states.
How will you win elections? Because every time I speak to someone in the Congress party about why don't you have a closure to the Rajasthan issue, they say we don't want a situation like Punjab, which can mean anything. Do you think lack of closure or settling down is something which could have an impact on the Congress party in Rajasthan?
Look,
or
I don't want to comment on who said
BJP?
what, किसने क्या बोला नहीं बोला. All I'm saying is that we have important elections, and Congress as a party has to win state elections. We won Himachal Pradesh. We worked very hard. I was an observer there, and I think a Hindi-speaking state victory was बहुत समय के बाद हम लोग जीते एक Hindi speaking states के अंदर. So I believe we can do well, and unless we win these important states where there is a bipolar contest, only then will we be well placed to take on the NDA in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. So we should win, and I think it's important for us to win, and we must do all that it takes. There is no tera, mera, if, but. I mean, the objective and goal should be very clear, and whatever it takes, we should get that done.
No, but you know, if I'm going to be if I'm a voter, and if I'm looking from far, forget I'm a journalist or something. To me, Rajasthan Congress.
How can I forget you're a journalist?
Okay, fine. I'm a journalist, but I'm also someone who's a voter in this country, right? So if I'm going to just look at the situation in Rajasthan Congress, it looks very confusing to me. It looks divided. It looks an infighting. Do you think that helps your party to contest elections?
I have not fought
Let's
with
not talk
anybody.
about
I can speak only for myself. I can't speak for others. I have done no fighting with anyone. I have raised certain issues. I have conveyed my sentiments, my views, my options, my proposals to the highest leadership in Delhi, and they've taken cognizance of that.
But they're not listening.
But I also believe that certain steps were taken, but now time is running short. We must seize the moment, because time goes very quickly, and we have a formidable party in power which will come all guns blazing. Already the Prime Minister has made a few visits to Rajasthan, and more will come, I suspect. But anyway, वो जो करेंगे उनका अपना करने का तरीका है. But we must figure out how we can win these states. I have said what I had to say to the leadership. Now let's see what happens.
Yeah, but let's, again, I'm going to come back to Rajasthan. Every time your question arises, Mr. Gehlot's question arises, they say that if we change the CM at this point of time, it will be a Punjab-like situation.
Like I said, maybe they've spoken to you about this. We have not had that discussion. So what I had to say, I've conveyed. Now let's wait and see.
But they always say that Mr. Gehlot is someone who has an abilities. He's a jadugar, he's a magician, and he's the only one who can win the state.
I have personally, I have high regard for him. There's no issue with Mr. Gehlot personally at all. But politically, what needs to be done, that's a decision, or that's a roadmap that the leadership in Delhi has to decide and pan out.
But do you feel hurt, disappointed? You were a deputy chief minister and PCC chief.
I have been very lucky. I've had many positions in the past. I've been in the opposition, I've been in the government, I've been MP, I've been MLA. So last 22 odd years, I've done a fair bit of work. So I only look at if I'm able to live up to the people's expectations, if I'm able to deliver, if are the people endeared to me or not, and how I can make sure that what they expect of us, we are able to deliver. Because when I was in opposition, I was the party president, and we made certain promises, certain commitments, and we formed a government.
Actually,
now it's been 4 years now.
They say that you're the real jadugar because you went to Himachal and Himachal Congress won. You are a good campaigner, and they say that you're one of the most promising faces. They've always gone on record to say it. But do you think it's time for the Congress also to perhaps fulfill some of the promises they made to you? Because how will you go to your
Okay, let me ask another question. Which promises are made not to be fulfilled? Right? When you tell somebody the promise hai, you make a promise for it to be fulfilled, right? But it's not about individual promises, right? It's about, I keep saying, how can we win a state? Unless we win states, we can't then have a larger roadmap for the national election. And it's not very far apart, it's 4 months apart. So we have to go all guns blazing, figure out what needs to be done. take these states. I keep saying Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan.
So, do you think they should announce a CM face for Rajasthan?
Pallavi, why are you asking all these questions? I don't have answers for these questions.
You belong to the party.
Of course, and I've said, and I don't hide. I don't.
Announcing
first
CM
of all,
face, does it help?
Pallavi ji, party का जो एक policy रही है कभी announce नहीं किया. 2018 also, we didn't announce any chief minister face, barring one or two exceptions. I think the Congress doesn't announce chief minister faces, but I think different states are different, situations are different. Normally, the Congress party does not announce who will be its chief minister candidate going to polls.
Okay, before I let you go, in Rajasthan, there have been made changes in Rajasthan BJP. Do you think there's an infighting in Rajasthan BJP which could work to your advantage of the Congress party? And second, those changes being made, does it also a reflection of the BJP's strategy and problems within the state?
BJP, I think, has been not able to live up to even being a responsible opposition in Rajasthan. I've been watching them in assembly. Otherwise, for a party that has all 25 Lok Sabha seats, it has ministers of union cabinet from Rajasthan. 4 साल में they've really not been able to evolve or develop themselves as a real opposition party. So I don't think people expect much for them. By changing 1%, 2%, you can do all of that. But I don't think that the BJP and the infighting and the sort of the pull and pressure within the BJP in Rajasthan are so much that it's unprecedented actually. So you're right. I mean but I can't depend on their follies to do well. I have to prepare myself and be ready for the battle. Discounting the fact that they may be dispirited or maybe many factions in Rajasthan BJP, which is a fact. It's in public domain. I don't have to say it. But I don't think people expect much from the BJP. But we can't go into polls thinking that ye kharab karenge, that's why we should do well. We have to be prepared. Our organization, I keep saying, workers, why should we keep rewarding bureaucrats in state government? We should reward our workers, whether wo aapka worker, mera worker, doesn't matter. But anyway, I don't want to go into details, but I'm just saying that people who worked hard, who sweat and bled for the party for all these long years, and workers who are really going to be standing on the booth and getting your votes polled, they are far more relevant than some retired bureaucrat who may be close to me and I keep giving him important positions. That may not really appeal to the grassroots workers in the party.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18.